Hey everybody, my name is Lindsay. In this video, I'm going to be covering the 3 steps you'll use to remove wrinkles using the Wrinkle Wiper Action Set from Hello Little. In this video, like I said, there's 3 different steps, just to show you and kind of go over those options real quick before we get started. The first step is Wrinkle Eraser, where we'll smooth over most of your wrinkles. The second one is Smooth Wrinkle Shadows, where you'll smooth over the shadows and kind of even out the light those wrinkles created. And then the third option is the Lines and Texture Remover, where you'll remove the lines and stuff that those wrinkles created. In each of these options, or each of these steps, there's 3 different options. The one that you're going to use in most cases is this regular option. That's going to give you the most consistent results. And is the one that, like I said, you'll use the most. There are options. Your B options are either a strong or a light option. Obviously, it kind of is what it says. The strong is going to be a little bit stronger than your regular. The light's going to be a little bit lighter than your regular. I don't know that you'll use these all that often, but you might find that they are helpful, and that's what we found in our testing, that they were beneficial in certain situations, so we wanted you guys to have that. The Wrinkle Eraser Tight Spaces or the Wrinkle Eraser Edges are going to help you when you're working kind of in smaller areas. With maybe a little bit more detail that you want to be a little bit more meticulous about. And then obviously the edges will help you ensure that you don't have contamination like around like different spots here, like with her hand, so it'll kind of prevent the bleeding that you kind of see when you run some actions. It makes it a little hazy. So in certain situations you may find that you want to run like a regular option for like the main body, and then you may need to be a little more meticulous and go in and maybe use the tight spaces or edges option as you get closer to those finer detail areas. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get into it now that we explained all of that. So I'm just going to zoom in here. This is the obviously a big problem area. Not gonna lie, when I use this dress or one similar to it, this is a 2-piece dress, so that's why you kind of have this big seam here. And then all of these wrinkles that were created. Most of the time this would be something that maybe I would smooth out like a little bit of these, but for the most part I left the majority of it because I just didn't really want to take the time or spend the effort to try to make it look good and even. But now that I have this new set, this makes it so easy to go through and take care of something as atrocious as this and relatively easily. Alright, so I'm going to start and I'm going to run 1A Wrinkle Eraser Regular. Alright, so I have I'm just going to put this at 100. I have a white brush selected, and I'm just going to start brushing it on. And just to kind of show you like how strong it is, I'm actually going to remove this the main seam right there in the middle. Some people choose to like that and keep it in. That's totally your preference with most of these. Some people like some of the wrinkles, right, to maintain some kind of movement in the fabric, but it really is your choice. For the purposes of this, I'm going to go through and remove as much of it as quickly as I can. So this is an area where we'll see, sometimes I find it useful to go in and remove or do the tight spaces one, but it actually did pretty well here, so I don't think we needed to do that. Alright, so this is just quickly brushed on 1A Wrinkle Release Irregular. I'm going to just toggle that off and on so you can kind of see the significant difference already and what an improvement it's already made in our image. Okay, so now we're going to do the Smooth Wrinkle Shadows. So again, I'm going to just start with 2A and play that. Okay, and again, just as easy as before, we're just going to brush it on. So you can see this is a prime example here. So if you look, I'm just going to toggle it off and on. You can kind of see how the color was contaminated. A little bit of her skin color is kind of coming over here. So this is a prime example of where you would want, and you can see it by erasing it, where the tight spaces actions are going to come in. So I'm going to save that area, and I'm going to come back to it in just 1 second. I'm just going to go through and do kind of the main body. If you want to, you can even remove her little belly button bump. Alright, and then, so now that I got the majority of the body switched out, I'm going to go ahead and run tight spaces. Okay, and now that that's run, I'm just going to zoom in on those areas because this is obviously tight spaces, so we want to be a little more meticulous because we're trying to get around those areas. So you can kind of see the difference and how we're not getting that kind of color bleeding around that. So, and again, if you want to, I mean, you can use this for the larger areas as well. It's focused on the edges, so it's not necessarily as effective on the bigger areas, or you might notice more of those shadows or more of those wrinkles kind of staying there. So that's why there are both options to run, because we wanted it to be as effective as possible. All right, so now that we have that, I'm just going to create a folder for the shadows. Oops. And then throw those under there so that we can toggle that off and on for you. Okay, so now that we have that done, I'm just going to show you the shadows. So you can see how much more even the dress looks here. I mean, even like down here and like around her hip with her underwear line, it just looks so much more even and so much cleaner. All right. The last step in this process is the lines and texture remover. So all these like fine lines that we've been left with after smoothing out the wrinkles and then the shadows, are still present. So now we're going to go through and remove those. Again, I'm going to start with just the regular option, so 3A. We're going to play that. All right. And then again, just simply brush it on. And then again, you can get really tight in those spaces if you would like to. Look at that. Isn't this amazing? This is the real magic right here. And just seeing basically the complete smoothness that happens when you run 3A. I think Teresa said it was super satisfying. And it really is to watch that happen. Better than any night cream or iron. I wish my night cream worked as well. Alright, so again, I just did this really quickly. Let's see if I can you can get up in here, like really close, and actually remove all of these. Alright, so let's I'm going to zoom back in so we can see it. This one's going to be a little bit more subtle from farther away. And then toggle those lines off and on. And what a difference, right? All right, and then I'm going to throw all 3 steps into a folder so that we can kind of see big picture what we took the image from to what it looks like after. And again, this was just quickly, but what a significant difference. So I think that this is going to help a lot of people kind of tackle, these problem areas like I would have just left because it just was too time consuming and took too much effort to try to get like a good result. But obviously I've been talking, so I've been going through this a little bit slower than I normally would, but in just a matter of minutes, we've been able to take it and create just a great result. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop any comments in the link, questions or comments in the link.